on this Series 2A, there's a little thing here called the starter motor. It cranks over the petrol engine so we can get it started with some other stuff that's not that important now. And it uses 12 volts from the battery, but at the moment it's not passing through the solenoid. If you're new to this channel and you haven't seen the previous videos on this restoration project, then I'm Simon and I bought this 1968 Series 2A with an engine that hasn't been started for over 30 years. In the previous video, we went through the engine and saw which major components we had and what we didn't have, and we also cleaned out the ports. At some point the engine stopped turning freely, but we got it turning freely again, and we did a manual compression test with the swing start. Some of you said that's not a good idea, but we did it anyways because I thought it was a fun test. However, so you commented and said get some ATF oil, put it in the cylinders, let it marinate so the piston rings can stop being seized or be unseized. And I did that yesterday on Monday, and today's Tuesday, and yesterday I put the ATF oil in, swing it around a bit. I started hearing some sounds inside the cylinders, like something was different than before, and I couldn't help myself, and I did another compression test, a manual compression test with the swing start, and yeah. Let's go back to Monday and you can see how that went. Okay, so it's Monday. I just thought I'd drop out and see if I had some ATF oil. So seeing your comments on YouTube on the last video that I released yesterday on Sunday morning, there was a lot of comments of how I could jump start the starter and also see how I can fix or test the solenoid, and yeah, bunch of really good suggestions, so thank you. The community on here is just really great, just all positive comments, and yeah, so thank you so much for both watching and commenting and joining the community. I already had oil, regular motor oil inside of the cylinders. And the suggestion is to have some ATF oil inside there and let it soak for some days. That's why I'm out here on Monday. I think I should have some from this is from the Defender, I think. Multi-vehicle ATF. I think maybe this is all the way from the time that the leaking started on the Defender. Yeah, maybe it's the same brand. If I find the clip, I can show you.
Vi har kjøpt noe fint. Begynte plutselig å rure litt fra servoen. Nei, det regner høy. Og det var lite.
Yep, ATF oil, and got my trusty hose. Just gonna use the same method. Oh, got some oil on there. So I don't want any oil, drinking any oil. So same procedure, vacuum with the hose, then put it into the cylinder head. And we will see in 2 days what's happened. Okay, ATF oil is in. Just gonna turn the engine around as I've done so many times before. So I don't know if you noticed in the last video, but initially I was using this, which is I think it's Eric's dad's. I think he made this for his Series 3, and but looking behind the seats, I found the original one which was in the car, which is really cool. I'm not supposed to be here, I'm just supposed to go inside and make ready for work, and we're working on this and filming tomorrow, but it's hard not to just keep on going. I was thinking, should I put in the compression tester and then just for fun, just to see if there's a difference from the last time. Okay, last one.
Oh my god, I think you got exactly 25 or like
Yeah, tiny bit less. Woohoo! We got pressure. Let's see here. So that's really good. So we are seeing pressure in all cylinders. Whoop whoop. Thank you, Nicolina.
You're welcome.
My happy helper. Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's tiring. Oh,
Okay, good. Inside, and then
peace.
peace out. 8 down. Do 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 do. Okay, see you inside.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so all good, really great. Seeing pressure. I guess the motor oil has done its thing, and now the ATF is going to work for 1 day, 2 days, then we'll see if we can get some real pressure. So we were up on 25 psi now by hand, so that's really, really good. Welcome back to Tuesday, and as you saw, with the help of my happy helper, we got compression readings or pressure readings on all the cylinders, which is just really fun that we could do it with the manual swings out. Many of you said you can't do that, but we managed to do that, and yeah, whoop whoop, really fun. Just a fun test. I did, however, fail to do a proper compression test because we couldn't get the starter motor to work. And that leads me into the primary goals of this video, is to get the starter motor working and do a proper compression test. And I say proper because we need the engine to run and be warm and then use the starter. We only have the starter and we're going to do it on the cold engine, so it's not going to be proper. And our secondary goal today is to do something about this, figuring out what's going on and why the ignition isn't working. And secondary goal is to get some power to the dash. For some reason, I have like a deep want to get the dash to light up. There's something about the oil gauges, and yeah, the scene light in there is going to be so cool. We have a lot of work before we get to that, and we will see if we can finally get the engine to crank over. So why won't the starter motor work? Well, 12 volt isn't passing through the solenoid. If you don't know what a solenoid is, it's basically a switch that is controlled by a signal. So you see the two main big wires are the power wires going from the battery to the starter motor. The small little wire in the middle here, that's the signal wire, which comes from the ignition switch inside the car. So basically, when you turn the key and hold it, that sends the signals to that cable through the solenoid that says, let the juices flow from the battery to the starter motor, and that starts its turn. When you let go of the key, it closes the solenoid or the switch, and then the juices stop flowing. The current stops flowing from the battery to the starter motor. So basically, the solenoid is a switch, and mine isn't working. So either it's broken or it's not getting any signal when we turn the key. So how do we test that? Well, we can take off the signal cable that's there, which comes from the ignition key, which we know don't work. And we can make our own signal cable, which just takes 12 volt from the battery, from the plus, to the input on the solenoid. I'm usually used to electronics, which uses like 5 volt for signal, but this uses 12 volt. The only thing I know that uses less than 12 volt is the coil, which is 9 volts. How that works, I don't know, but we will come back to that when we start on the ignition part of this series. So as we said, first part is to remove the cable going from the ignition key to the solenoid, and it's this one. It's white with red dots, and if you're unsure, remove the dash inside and check the same cable color inside of the which goes to the ignition key. Removing should be fairly easy. Let's see. Like so. As you can see, it's all green on the terminal, and we need to clean that off. It's common with this old cars that has been standing for a long time. So clean off the terminal, make a wire, and then we'll see. So making a signal cable is pretty easy. It's 12 volts. I tried to figure out how much amperage current it uses, but I couldn't find it. But basically, just use a long enough cable that is the same size or even bigger than the size that was shown, and you should be safe. If you want to be more safe, put it on a small fuse. Yeah. Nice connection. Let's see. Put that on. And now make a good connection surface point for the battery. Let's see. And then we have our test wire, and do we dare? There it goes, nothing. Something made a huge sound. Okay, so I went super quiet, and that's a personal trait. If I am thinking really, really, really hard, that's when I get quiet. And yeah, it made a horrible sound, and I'm not really sure. It sounded like electrics, like when electrics explode. So I just was really unsure. So I went inside, took lunch, trying to find the correct solenoid, see the wiring diagram, can't find anything. I suddenly became unsure if it needs a positive live, but I think I'm really sure it does, because it's earthed to the bulkhead, and then you use a live plus wire to the solenoid. And yeah, but it made a horrible noise, and I was just, have I done something wrong? I messaged Eric, and he called me, and we talked, and we made a plan for how to proceed. I'm going to test a couple of times more on the solenoid. If it engaged, and he said it's basically like a magnet, so it should make some sound. But if the starter motor ain't turning over, we need to go directly to the starter motor and see why the starter motor ain't turning the motor. Yeah. Okay, let's get to it and try a couple of times more. Hopefully it will work out. Okay, so as I said, you can always put a fuse on it. If you want to be more safe, put it on a small fuse. So I'm going to do that. I spent a lot of time looking at the wiring diagram, so I was so sure everything was in order. It's just strange that if it makes a sound, or yeah, I get unsure. But yeah, part of the process, I guess, learning by doing, is to question what you're doing at certain points. it was suggested I should get a starter switch with the wires inside, with the wires connected, so that when I'm working here I can do a test start with the switch instead of holding the wires. Okay, so this is what we're left with: cable, 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 fuse holder. Now we need a fuse. Red is 10, so I'm going for 10 amps fuse. Reconnect the test wire now with a fuse. And then we'll see. If the fuse blows, we know I've done something wrong. Just a horrible sound. It works. The engine is turning for the first time in 30 years on the starter motor. I made something work. Solenoid is working with the signal. It's switching over, getting power from the battery to the starter motor. The starter motor is working and it's turning over the engine. So nice. And I got scared and went in and asked Erik if if I've done it wrong. Okay, moving on. I think we need to run the engine a bit more on the starter just because we can. So signal going to the solenoid, opening the solenoid, power from the battery flows through the wires to the other wire to the start motor, cranking the engine, and 3, 2, okay, so it's turning really good. I wasn't expecting it. I was thinking the starter needed to come out, and yeah. But it's good. We can move on. Primary goals were getting the starter engine to work and finding out if we can use the solenoid or not. So the solenoid is good. Starter motor is good. The other primary goal we had was to do a proper compression test. Okay, before I get the tester, put down your number in the comments. What do you think the numbers will be? It should be 145 if you check the book. On a warm engine with the starter engine with the 7-to-1 compression. As I said in the previous video, if I get over 100, it's really good. Below 100, not so good. Pretty bad, I think. So, but yeah, put down your comment, what do you think, and then we will see when I do the test if who was right. I'm thinking 120 and 110. So last time I used this screw-on type, and then you saw on Monday we went in there and I used this press-on. So I'm just going to use this and then we'll see if it's going to be good enough. Cylinder number 1. Hope you can see that. Let's see. Wire, starter. Not really good. 3 bars, almost 50 psi. Okay. On number 1, maybe should change out the battery. Let's see. Three bars. So that's 40, 45. So not really good. Okay, not good. 26. On number 3, let's see, number 4. Uh, 45. So yeah. So 50 psi was the max, which isn't good. Wrong setting. Let's see. Voltage 1255. Maybe I need to change out the battery for another one and test again. Okay, so 50 psi ain't the best, but it's something, and yeah, we probably could get it started. So that's good. It's good enough to get it started. Yeah, but I can hear it blowing out, so the valves aren't sealing good. So what I'm thinking, I put the light here, and then I just put up the camera, and then I'm going to start, and then we can see if it blows out of the valves when the valve should be closed. So you can see when both exhaust and inlet rockers are on top on the first cylinder, you can see that it's blowing out of the ports, which it shouldn't. Okay, let's do cylinder 2 from a different angle. I think we're going to see it better from this side. Okay, just do cylinder 3 and 4 while we are at it. Let's see. Cylinder 3. Cylinder 4. Oh, pressure. I think that's the new record. Let's see. That's good. Okay, that's enough compression tests for today. Gonna try to recharge the battery, and also need to continue. We have done our primary goals, which is to get the starter motor to turn, solenoid we know, and also doing a compression test proper. I want to get lights in the dash, so we're going to continue on that, but I'm going to put some ATF oil inside of the cylinders, put more oil in. Hopefully that will just be working its way through the pistons and the piston rings, and hopefully we can get some better compression on the 2 center, so cylinder 2 and 3. That can just marinate, and I think we blew out everything which we were on top now, so yeah. Put more oil in, then start on the other electrics. Okay, back in the garage, it's Tuesday, and as you saw yesterday, we managed to get the starter motor working and we figured out that the solenoid works. In the previous video though, we couldn't get the signal to the solenoid, and why? I don't know. But that is what we're going to figure out today. So I have decided the best thing to do, and I think you will agree with me, is to just follow the wires and measure them one by one, seeing if we can get 12 volt from the battery all the way here to the ignition switch. And then if we can't get through the ignition switch, we know it's the ignition switch, basically. As you can see, there's a lot of old wires in here, and I think we have our job cut out for ourselves. But I think start with a simple one, start outside in the engine bay. I don't even know where all the wires go, so I think starting at the battery and then work our way through, and then we can see if we can get the signal to the solenoid and also get some lights in the dash. Okay, so if you're working on the series and on the electrics, even if any car electrics, wiring diagram, really nice to have, and also a multimeter. If you don't know what it is, you can measure the voltage, the current. You can check if the resistance in the coil is correct, or check if you don't get 12 volt in a wire, you can check that you have connectivity through the wire, so you can check from both ends. So really nice tool to have, and I really recommend you getting one. You don't have to be expensive, just get the off-brand type and it will usually work. Okay, let's start. Battery, and then we'll see. So the beep test is really nice. It just to check if you have connectivity, so through the wires. So if I put these together, you will hear the annoying beep. And if I put this on the wire on the battery and on the solenoid, we know that we have power all the way through this wire to this, or connectivity. We can also check the voltage from the plus side to the negative side, the earth. So if you just check the battery first, see here, we got a good battery with 13 volts on it, so it's been newly charged. We can also check between the engine and see if the engine is grounded as it should. See if you can find a ground point. Yes, so we got 11. Yeah, so engine is a bit. Let's see if you can find a proper. Yeah, so we got 13 on the block here. It's good. And we can also check. So we know we have connectivity on this wire. So if we put this on the solenoid, and then we check the ground on the bulkhead, you should see something 13. So we have ground. We have a voltage over the solenoid and to ground, so that's really, really good. Okay, so we know we have positive here, so now we can continue and we can find this connection here, which goes from the solenoid and up to, let's see, up to A on the regulator. So this big wire here is one feed and this is one feed, and the yellow, it's difficult to see which goes where. Oi. Don't do that. Okay. Put this gently back on again. That scared me a bit. It's a live wire, live battery on. Don't do that. So what we can do, I think we can just let's do that, and then we can check connectivity first. We have the signal cable going to the ignition switch, that's okay. Then we have the big wire here feed going up to the voltage regulator, and then the third wire actually goes directly here, and this is connected to the horn. So it's got its own power supply, so the horn always works basically, not going through the ignition switch. Then we have excluded everything except where does the ignition key get its power from? And it must get its power from somewhere, and checking the diagram, it should come from the voltage regulator, which have power from this big wire here. So we need to find out where is it all connected. So this is what I found out last time. You have this power going from the solenoid directed to the voltage regulator, and it sits on A. A also feeds A1, and from A1 we get a wire coming going from the A1 terminal on the voltage regulator to the ignition switch here. That jumps also to the lights inside the car. So 19 is switch lights. So the ignition switch could get power from that wire. So we can test, do we have power to the ignition switch inside the car from this wire? But we need to connect that wire first. Okay, so looking at the wiring diagram and looking on the wires that I have here, either it's been all reconnected somehow, or I'm missing one wire. So the main wire, the wire coming from A1 on the regulator and going through to the ignition switch, I cannot find. I spent a lot of time inside the car and also in the engine bay, and you're only seeing part of that. I did what some of you suggested in the last video, and that was to put everything back together, and I soon figured out what the problem was. Remember 2 seconds ago when I said that I think I'm missing a wire, and yeah, let's go back to this clip. There's so much stuff here. I need to just find the correct wires on the ignition here, and then remove everything that I don't think we need to have. And remove this yellow. And I think we are good with the ignition. So this is the leftovers from my rampage inside the car, removing wires that I didn't think was in use. Say hello to my little friend. So I think we found the problem, and I'm going to hook it up, and also this will also feed the dash, so we may see some light. So yeah. I can't believe it's my own fault, but yeah, that's the way it is. The wire that we found now is the one here on A1 here, which goes to the ignition switch. The one that I said in the start that we were missing, and we were missing it. So yeah, connect it there, A1, and the A1 gets feed from A. So the feed jumps here to this. So yeah, we can just double check that. So if you test the connection now from A to A1, we get feed. Okay, good. So we don't need that one, and then we can just feed it through. Okay, let's go through the same as the other ignition. Like so. Hooking it up. So feed coming from the voltage regulator, then this jumps off to the lights. I'm going to remove that. We can test the lights afterwards. this just goes to the fuse box, and that's disconnected, so it won't feed anything else, so we can leave that. So basically feed coming here, signal cable going to the starter solenoid, and then, so if we try the ignition key now, it should work. Just gonna check there's nothing in the way. Rocker cover is on. And we are good to go, I think. Okay, we have feed going up to A, then from A1 going to ignition signal cable. Okay, so I think we are. So I don't think we're going to see no lights here because we haven't got the feed for that. So ignition now. Okay, check if we have 12 volt. Okay, either I'm really stupid or something is wrong. I don't know. You be the decider. Okay, so I checked from between the battery and the connection A1 on the voltage regulator, we have 12 volt. Now see if the wire here is solid or not. So there should be a ground here somewhere. Where did you go? Ground, there. And we got 13 volts here. Okay. Okay, let's do a simple manual test. This is a signal cable. And this is the wire, live wire. Okay. So that works. Okay. Connectivity between the in and the out. Not so happy about the live wire here, but let's see. Yeah, it's no doubt the ignition switch is broken. Bad, but good. Ignition switch, very, very bad. Okay, so that's some bad news, but also some good news. We found out what the problem is, and I'm guessing we cannot fix the ignition switch, so I need to buy a new one, but that's fine. So just put that on the long list of parts that I will be needing. I don't think we should end this video on a negative note, so I think if we put in the fuses, we can get some lights. I'm going to double check the wiring diagram, and then you can see. Let's get at least one light in the dash before we give up and we end this video. To get lights in the dash, we need some power, and we get our power from A1, the same cable that goes to the ignition switch and sends power to through the signal wire to the solenoid. So we have power at the ignition switch. When you put the ignition switch into the on position, you will get a live feed over to the light switch. On the light switch, when you put that onto in the middle position, you will get a live feed going to the panel light switch. And then you have number 5 and number 7, which is panel light speedo and panel light instruments. So what we need to check is that we have power from the ignition switch when it's in the on position, and we need to check that we have power when we turn on the switch, the light switch, that goes through to the panel switch, and we also need to check that the panel switch work, and then we need to check if the lights work in the dash. Okay, let's see if we can get power. Let's see, it's on earth. $13, okay. We have nothing there. $13. Okay. So we got panel switch, but no lights. When I look closely, it looks like they are intact. If we do a test, we can, yeah. Okay, the bulbs are in order, so that's not a problem. And we got live feed from the switch. Then we need to check the wires from the switch to the light bulb. And then we need to check if we have good earth to the, because the light bulb sits in a holder which then earths down to the actually housing of the speedo. Maybe it's an earthing problem in the dash. Okay, the first thing we can check is to check the live wire going to the bulb, and then we can check the ground afterwards. Need to ignition on. Let's see, we can check. We had on the switch, which is on. Then we can test here. Let's see. And we have 13 volts there, so that's okay. Then we can do a test with connectivity and see if we got earth here. So turn off the switch. In theory, this should light up when we get this earth down. Let's double check that we got earth. I think we did that, but lights, okay. Two seconds. Whoop whoop.
Hey.
Hot wife. All I can say, it wasn't me.
I know who it was.
Okay.
She told me.
Okay, big moment in garage. Come on.
Okay.
Big moment. Lights in the dash. I haven't tried it yet, so that's what I'm going to do now, but I need you to help. You're going to hold the camera.
Okay.
Thank you. And it's going to get dark. Let's see. Let's do like this.
Oh.
And then afterwards, I need to do like this.
Okay.
And then it's get really dark. Ooh.
It's red now. Oh, the Land Rover signs.
It's
Ooh.
very nice, yes. Where am I? I'm here. Okay,
Okay.
that's ignition on. Then we need to put the lights on. And then panel lights. You see it?
No.
Okay.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Okay, give me the camera. Don't, ain't on camera.
No. I don't know. Maybe it's just.
Okay, so it's very dim.
But I can see it with my own eyes.
Whoop whoop. We got one light. There should be. Woohoo! We got lights.
Shalabies.
So cool.
Good job. Good job. So that's what you did today?
Yes. Turn the lights on, please. Oh, yes. Okay. So that's it. Ending this video on a positive note. Thank you, wifey. Lights in the dash. What a way to end the video. It's so good. So ending on a happy note. To sum it up, we got power from the battery flowing through the solenoid to the starter motor, which is really good. We can crank the engine, so we know we have a starter motor. We couldn't get the ignition to work, and that seems to be a fault ignition, so that I need to order or see if I can fix it all. I don't think we can, but... And at the end, we managed to find the fault with the lighting, and we got lights in the dash, and it looks so cool. I don't know why. All dash, all instruments with lights in. So cool. I just want to give a big shout out to Jeffrey Croker. At the end of his last video, he mentioned me, and yeah, since then I think we have like 400 or 500 new subscribers on the channel, and I just want to thank him so much. It means so much coming from him, because he got a great channel with some great videos, super detailed about restoration of the parts on the series, and it's just super great, and I just love his content. So if you haven't been on his channel, go check it out. It's Croker versus Rover, and also we have Jeffrey Croker's YouTube channel. And yeah, if you're into this kind of stuff and you're into old tools and restoration, and yeah, then you're really gonna like his channel, and his humor is just spot on for me. Yeah, the last one I just kept on laughing all the way. So yeah, but go and check it out for yourself. I think you're gonna like it, and yeah, remember to subscribe to his channel. Okay, if you liked the videos so far on the series, then please remember to subscribe. If you haven't yet, hit the like button, write a comment down below. Give me a good option to clean the carburetors, and then I will see if I can find out which one I should use. And yeah, as always, I'll see you in the next one, and hopefully we will be one step closer to getting this one to run. Electrics done. Whoop!